Hi, my name is Rebecca Curry, and this is my HDFS 438 video final. Overall, I feel like this class has taught me a lot. I've taken multiple diversity classes, but I never really realized until taking this course how very little I really learned. So this is what was a great opportunity for me. One thing I learned about in this class was the color line, which separates white and non-white space. Within society, people of color have to navigate both white and non-white space, and as Du Bois put it, people of color have a double consciousness, which enables them to effectively maneuver within both spaces and across the color line. This double consciousness is kind of like wearing different masks depending on the space that the person is in. Within the white space, a person of color cannot fully express or completely be themselves and must conform and assimilate in order to successfully navigate white space. For instance, a person of color who's in the workforce may have to assimilate and use their double consciousness in order to get promoted to a higher position, although sometimes even this doesn't work. So now I understand what these terms are, and I'm conscious of how this affects people every day. In this course, I also learned about racial identity formation. In the readings by Helm, she talks about forming a positive black and white racial identity and the various stages a person has to go through in order to form these racial identities. By forming these positive racial identities, one is conscious and aware of society's social constructs and how they're either playing a part in keeping these social constructs and barriers in place, or how it's directly affecting them as an individual or a group. For instance, I as a white person have privilege, but I also am privileged because I'm heterosexual, I'm able-bodied, I'm in college, I was born in the United States, and a lot of different other reasons I'm privileged. But in particular, my privilege of being white is in turn oppressing people of color. People of color have been oppressed for centuries and still are oppressed currently, despite what some people may say. I thought the example in class that you showed us was really powerful regarding oppression, privilege, and reverse discrimination. I mean, racism. You laid on the ground and you had a student put their foot on your neck, and you talked about how there could be no reverse racism or oppression of white people because white people are the ones who are in power. Although this discussion, I had never believed in reverse racism. Like, this just solidified my belief, and it like really just stood out to me because I had never visually seen an example, and so I just thought that was really awesome. So going back to forming your racial identity, this relates to children and families in a multi-ethnic society because, as I said earlier, you're more aware of the power dynamics and what is happening within society. By understanding these implications in society, you can see how it relates to various cultures, races, and ethnicities, and how it affects their everyday lives. By this, you can also see how equality and equity play a role in society. For example, one of the speakers at the Student for Cultural Diversity said that equality is giving somebody a pair of shoes, but equity is giving everyone a pair of shoes that fits. I think that's extremely important to remember because not every group in society has the same problems, nor do they need the same type of help or assistance. And each group is unique, and the people within those groups are individuals. Lastly, I want to conclude this video by talking about how I think we should proceed in terms of improving our relationships on an individual level. I think we should, as a society, have more discussions regarding race, ethnicity, gender, and identity in classes such as this one, as well as having discussions outside of the classroom with peers or having discussion panels on the topic and things like that. Although these things may not always be easy to talk about, especially it was like really tense in the beginning of class, I think it's definitely important and people will gain a lot of knowledge regarding these topics. Although I think it is great for people to talk about themselves and teach about their culture, I really don't think it's always their job to inform others. For example, I'm majoring in social work and will have to work with a lot of different people, and I will have questions regarding their culture, but I don't think it's their job to teach you everything. I feel like as an individual, you have to also like educate yourself. So I feel as though if people are educated, their views will change, and it'll help change people's views and opinions which will help society. So that's it. Thank you.